birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Right, okay, so my version of Fusion's history is the charity, well, the organisation, shall we say, has been in Parkwood for 20 years in December. We're here. And became a registered charity in 2006, so it started off in 2003 as Parkwood Plus. And I think became Fusion in 2010. So when the organisation was first formed, it was built on the, it came off the back of health visitors being withdrawn from going into houses. So it was built as a community centre where people could still access that service. It then became, I think, Cape County Council then became involved with the Healthy Living Centre model, and it was about providing a safe space where there was people who could give advice, there was access to computers, we could help people, I think, maybe get back into employment, so on and so forth. And from that grassroots has developed this service, which has multiple things it can offer to the community. So that's my understanding of the history of Fusion.
My first memory of Fusion was when I was doing a job as a non-exec director at what was then the Maidstone and World PCT, and one of the directors of the PCT came to me and said, "Don, we're setting up this thing up in Parkwood in Maidstone, and we're getting a property leased to us by the Borough Council. Can you take a look at the lease for us?" Well, I have no legal qualifications, but I've looked at many a lease over the years, so that's what I did. And that's when I first realised what they were doing. And it was all brought about by the then health visitors in the area who saw a need for, in particular at the time, the young mums they were dealing with. That's where it started. It started with one property over on the other side of the road. It then became two properties, because I think we took over an old laundromat, and it sort of grew from there. And I think the history of Fusion has been very much like a roller coaster, up and down. 1 minute really good, next minute a down. I think at the moment we've been up the top.
As I said before, it was Fusion, it was Parkwood Plus, I was involved in that, setting that up, and we got all the local other community type services such as housing, police, all sorts of people involved, and we managed to acquire the premises over the road in Parkwood Parade. It was an old laundrette, needed quite a lot of refurbishment, but housing department gave it to us for a peppercorn rent. We had our PCT employed the staff initially, and they used our finance and other back office functions really, until they were in a position to do so themselves. We had lottery funding for a while, and then it moved on to actually becoming a charity in its own right, and that's when everything sort of started kicking off in a different way. As I said, we then had to move here into the current premises. It wasn't the first choice, for some reason the premises got changed to the ones we've got now, and it was quite a challenge because they were a little bit out of sight, not as in the forefront as they were in the old premises, and it was also more expensive. So that's been an ongoing challenge, and some of those things are still carrying on today. We've lived through lots of different styles of management, lived through lots of different funders, all sorts of other things, and luckily still standing.
My version, as I say, prior to me getting involved with the men's group, I didn't really know anything about fusion, so my knowledge of its history is what's been told to me, and I can only really talk about when I've been involved, so it wouldn't be fair to sort of comment before that. But it obviously was set up to be a healthy living centre, and to sort of promote healthy living within Parkwood, which is obviously an area of deprivation. Whether we actually change healthy living, who knows? I know there's things like the slow cookery stuff, where that's obviously got to be a good thing. People accessing the services that are provided here, so that's like the health intelligence for diabetic clinics, sexual health, that's all going to be really good stuff, and that's going to affect the change. We've got to try and expand that and look at changing attitudes, changing issues around mental health and things like that, which I think in areas where there is a higher deprivation, everyday issues that really affect people's mental health, and I think that's got to be one of the things we've got to look at.
I don't particularly know too much about Fusion's history, apart from that we used to be called Parkwood Plus, and that we were born out of health visitors visiting homes.
Hi, my name's Sue.
My full name is Donald John Wright, but everyone knows me as Don.
My name is Tad.
I'm Ida, and I'm Sheila.
Kenny.
Oh, I'm Lynn Selman.
Hi, my name's Chloe.
How are you doing?
Susanna Arnold.
Vanish Gibbs.
I do, and kitchen assistant.
I'm the chief officer, so I'm responsible for the day-to-day running of the centre and managing the staff and volunteer teams.
I'm a part-time receptionist.
I believe I'm chairman of Fusion at the moment.
I'm one of the trustees at Fusion for the Board of Trustees.
Well, I had a whole range of roles. It started right at the very beginning when I was Director of Community Services in the local health service. And my health visitors and some of the health promotion team had a very different approach to perhaps their work up here on this patch. And they used to have fruit and vegetables and things in the back of their car, and then they wouldn't necessarily just have traditional sort of solutions to problems. They come up with different sort of ideas. So we worked on that, and I became sort of project director for what then became the Healthy Living Centre. As it evolved, I then mentored the first project manager, and then I had to go away. I was on the project board for quite a few years, and then I moved to East Kent in a different role. But as soon as I was about to retire, Mike Fitzgerald jumped on me and said, "Can you come along and be a trustee?" And that was in 2008, and I've been doing that until last year. And towards the end, I was actually vice
I'm a
chair.
community project coordinator at Fusion, which means that I organise all the projects, write the funding bids, and do whatever needs to be done. I'm quite often dreaming up fun ideas, such as Fusionella and jumble sales. So yeah, that's what I do.
Supervisor of the coffee shop.
I've been working at Fusion since June 2022, so just a little over a year now.
So I came into post as the Community Project Coordinator in July 2020 and took over as Chief Officer in July 2021. So I've been here for nearly 3 years.
Since 2018, I think, could be longer.
Was the last year? Yeah, last year, so 22.
A year?
A year? Did you volunteer before?
I did, yes.
First time I came was about 4 years ago, but I've been coming regularly for a year.
I honestly can't remember the exact date, but it's obviously been something like 20 years.
I've been with Fusion for about 10 years now.
Volunteering from the 10th of January 22 up to now.
To be honest, I think it's probably since about 2017.
I've been here for a long time, yes.
Been offered a job.
I've got too many. How I felt when I was going to get paid. That made a big difference. It improved my self-confidence and it made me feel valued.
Wow. Okay. So initially my journey with Fusion was difficult as I came into post during the first and second lockdown. Unprecedented times, rule of 6, social distancing, do we all remember that? Rules changing on a daily basis, so this made community engagement very challenging. I have many favourite memories of Fusion, but one that does stand out is delivering virtual bingo every month during lockdown. This allowed me to bring joy and light entertainment into people's lives during an incredibly tough and worrying time. These sessions were always filled with laughter and raised people's spirits.
I think that's just impossible to say, because really, every day I see a smile on people's faces when they're going out of this place. That's my favourite memory.
My favourite memory of Fusion, I think it's one of my first days. I was put into Golden Friends at the beginning of Golden Friends when we were still in meeting room 1 and 2, and we were making bracelets within Golden Friends, and it was just so nice to feel so welcomed into the group, and I remember helping someone, and then later on one of the volunteers let me know that it was the first time that person had particularly participated in the crafts, which felt really good to me. So that's probably one of my favourite memories.
I think when I first came to, not so much as a trustee because it's a different role, but I think when I first got involved with Fusion, it was with a project. I worked for a mental health charity, so an ex-colleague of mine had become the manager of Fusion when it was in the old premises across the road, and through the type of work I was doing, was looking at inequalities in mental health. It became obvious from my ex-colleague who managed Fusion then, said that men weren't accessing any of the services that Fusion were offering, and particularly services that sort of around mental health and well-being. So we looked at a project around supporting men with their mental health and well-being, and hence the men's project was born in Fusion. So that was really exciting. It was also really, really hard work. But I think out of that, seeing people, and it wasn't like overnight, but seeing people, one person who'd been unemployed for 14, 15 years, then get a job with our support. Somebody who lived in one of the flats above the old shops, who had 2 young children, and they were basically living in one room, get a nice house. Somebody who was always very angry and always being arrested, and then becoming quite prominent in the community in terms of helping do stuff and helping Fusion and then helping develop the original allotment, and to see the way he changed. Yeah, he was still, he was still a bit of a lad, but he did change, and you saw this really nice guy. So I think some of those are my favourite memories, seeing the effect that project had on particular people.
There are a huge number of memories. I just couldn't begin to relate all of them, but I do remember being asked the same question when I was talking at a conference many years ago when we first set up, and someone asked me what was my favourite memory, and I said it was just after we'd set up, and I walked into the old premises over in Parkwood Parade, and it was looking very trendy for those days with all these sort of sails on the ceiling. It was really hip hop and happening in the cafe. Kids were playing with toys, people were coming in and out of services, having a coffee, etc, etc. And it just was a bit of a light bulb moment. I thought, yep, we've done it. We've done the right thing, and this is here to stay, hopefully.
Journey that's been here.
People.
Oh, so much to talk about. Its ability to be a gateway for the community, its ability to change lives, its staff, its volunteers, its service users, its trustees, the way it serves the community by providing a safe, non-judgmental, friendly and welcoming space. It's just a fantastic place to work. So it's yeah, but loads to talk about as far as that's concerned.
Customers.
I just like how everyone can get together as a community and just sort of chat with one another.
Favourite thing about Fusion is a difficult one. I think it's helping people. And helping people quite often through a lot of trauma and crisis. I don't personally do it. The team does it. That's the big.
Gets me active.
I think there's obviously the people that work here, like yourself, Chloe, and Sue, and the trustees, the people that usually, because I'm not up here, I don't see people like you see every day, but it's nice to know that this centre's here and it's growing, I think, and I think it's doing more now than it's ever done in terms of trying to get the community in. And try and change the community, and there's an energy which perhaps in the past it struggled to get, and I don't blame that on any staff or board of trustees. I think it's evolved now, and I know it's still hard work and I still know there's issues, but I think things are moving forward probably better than they ever have done.
It's a variety of things. Yeah, there's lots of things to come and do up here rather than just staying at home doing nothing.
Mine is mixing with other people.
Well, I'd say that was about us being able to stick to our initial principles. I didn't mention earlier, but there's a healthy living centre called Bromley by Bow in East London, and I was really inspired by that. It's much bigger than Fusion, but it was a wonderful place. And so I'm pleased that we've been able to adopt the same principles and things they had there, and that been able to stick with them through sort of thick and thin really. Whatever problems have been thrown at us, we've still been able to keep to that principle of being able.
So my favourite thing about Fusion is that it feels like another family. I just love being able to help people, and yeah, that's my favourite thing.
What drew me to Fusion? I was pulled to Fusion, effectively. One of the then trustees kept saying to me, Don, would you come to Fusion? We need some help with the finances, etc, etc. At the time I was doing something else, and I just didn't feel I had time to do both of these things. When I gave up the other job, that's when I came to Fusion.
I think I was part of the people having to draw other people in, really, trying to get funders and other people on board, because it was a little bit advanced in its day. It wasn't everyone's idea of health services, and so obviously my job was about drawing other people in predominantly.
Probably my mental health.
I am on a journey to become a counsellor. And I got drawn to Fusion because I wanted to be around more people, more different people, and I wanted to help people, and so yeah, that's what drew me to Fusion.
Problems at home.
To be honest, as I said, my previous job, when we started the men's group, prior to that I never knew Fusion existed. And it was until my ex-colleague got the job as the then manager of Fusion that we found out Fusion existed. And I think when I left that role and got the job I've got now, that opportunity came up to become a trustee of Fusion, and I thought, I'd seen what had happened and what we did, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to be involved. I like things that actually really make change, not things just for the sake of being on a board of trustees, but things that actually do make a difference. And I think Fusion does make a difference.
connections.
So I've always worked in the community, and Fusion offered me the opportunity to affect real change, not only in Parkwood but in the wider Maidstone area. So I think that's what attracted me here. It absolutely ticked my boxes.
I haven't been this well ever.
My biggest achievement at Fusion, well, I feel like I've got quite a few. One of them being nominated and winning the Compassionate Young Person in Maidstone's Compassionate Community Awards. It felt really nice to get that, and I feel like it was a really, really big achievement, especially because I think I've only been working here a few months when I got that. But I also feel like one of my biggest achievements is my growth in confidence and how I've helped Fusion to grow as well.
I think bringing us through what was a financial crisis at one point, and then also through the lockdown, and coming out the other side actually healthier than we went in. That's what I see as my biggest achievement. But I couldn't have done that without the help of some of the staff at the time.
Learning more independence.
I'm still here. I think actually going back to, being a trustee, my role is quite limited. It's you guys that do the work, and we're there for guidance and to be a bit more strategic.
Out in the community.
Fusion's still here, and as I said, now I think Fusion's achievement is still here. It has its challenges, it has its issues, but you've got people like yourself here now who are getting out into the community, and I think it's changing the attitude towards Fusion. I think that has started to change. There was always a them and us sort of attitude, I think. Fusion doesn't understand. It was run by managers, and I think there's now, things are changing in the community because of Fusion. You've got a long way to go, and it's not going to be changed overnight. But small steps, and those small steps are being taken, and those small steps things will change.
Helping people, obviously.
Very simple. It's still here. And I think that is what a lot of people around here don't stop and think of. 20 years to survive through everything we've had to survive through, I think is a huge achievement.
I think, from my experience at Fusion, that staff are able to see your potential, maybe even before you see it. And with regards to my illness, I'm working and managing.
Well, again, I mentioned being at this conference a bit ahead of our time, and someone asked me that question, and I said, oh, we had a couple that got married. I mean, you're going, what? That wasn't the answer they were expecting. They thought I was going to say we had 45 people coming in for this week and 55 people doing something else. And so I explained how there were these two very lonely elderly people, both being widowed. They came in I think for the weekly roast. Like what they saw, they then got involved in the green gym, as it was called then, going out and doing bits of gardening around plots and things, and other activities, bingo, you name it. Started coming regularly, got to know one another well, and got married. And I think they actually had their wedding reception, afternoon tea or something in the cafe. But the people at the conference were all saying to me, well, so what's that achieved? And I said, well, it wasn't so recognised then about the impact of loneliness on mental and physical health. But today, you know, we've got 2 people who are no longer lonely, they're engaged in all these services and things. But as a byproduct of that, we'd probably say the health service and possibly social services quite a bit of money on the way. So, and that was just an example. And if you multiply that by the number of people who perhaps come here, worked as volunteers and then got a full-time job, paid job, then I think the impact on finance and health and well-being should be significant.
There's just, again, so many. One being that we won one of the awards at the Compassionate Community 2022, and 2, being here still, and 3, you know, we've grown so much in the last year, and I think that's a massive achievement.
Yeah. I think Fusion in itself, I don't think there's one particular person here, it's about everybody. You know, everybody brings that, makes that happen. And Fusion, okay, so the community, the Maidstone Borough Council Compassionate
Awards.
That was huge. I think for myself, for Fusion, for Chloe, who got the young person award. It was just 2. To win 1 is great. To win 2 is absolutely shows that we're being recognised. And I just think, it's well deserved. Everybody, we all deserve that. And we can only carry on. Let's carry on. Highlight Chloe.
Jill.
I think everybody I've worked with in Fusion.
Or just everyone really.
All of the volunteers.
Mention Tracy Elmore.
Susanna.
Dom and Tad on the trustee board have really helped.
Show has to be Dom.
Laura, Olivia, and Sue.
The support has come from the rest of the trustees and the staff.
Lots of people have supported me.
Alicia.
Has been very supportive of me.
Tracy.
Sue's extremely supportive as well.
I think Jenny is just all one help, isn't it? It's all generally all one help.
So I'm going to mention Sue.
Sue.
What I would like to see, that I'd like to see a world where places like Fusion aren't needed, where people have got all the support they need. They don't need to access services. I know that's not going to happen, not in my lifetime, probably not in your lifetime, but all the time it is needed. I'd still like to see Fusion grow and be recognised for how important it is in this community, and for the community itself to recognise it's important.
Well, yes, I had to retire through family health problems just last year actually, and but I still feel part of it. I still listen out for things, and it just always amuses me how every day there's something on the radio or on the television that somebody comes up with and thinks it's a new idea, social prescribing being one of them. And I'm absolutely, my blood pressure's through the roof. I'm shaking my fist at the radio and saying, we used to do that, we've done that years ago. So that just shows that we were ahead of the curve and what have you, and I just hope it stays that way, and I wish you all absolutely the best of luck for your birthday and onwards.
Oh, just thank you to everybody. It's been phenomenal. It's been a great journey, and a long way to continue. You know, it's like I say, it's a great place to work, great team of people. The minute you walk through the door, you feel the atmosphere is just so relaxing, and I think, you know, we can only continue to grow, and let's bottle that up, if you like, and move it further out so we can reach even more people. Yeah, that's
Take me all day. I'm I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And everything that I do here feels safe.
I just think it's really nice here.
I want to see Fusion expanding. I want to see us taking in more and more of the other estates around the area.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.